Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm welcome to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with Momodu Bailabari. In the headlines tonight, Barrow delivers State of Nation address for 2022 legislative year. UDP criticizes Barrow for NPP-APRC alliance. Barrow reveals Gambia loses over 6 billion on tourist money. First Lady graces launch of comprehensive reproductive health education program. In other news, Afghans express mixed feelings about interim government. Lebanon fuel crisis takes an increasing toll on livelihoods. DR Congo unrest attacks continue despite state of emergency. Well, those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Gambian leader, President Adama Barrow, on Thursday delivered his fifth State of the Nation address on issues and concerns he described as critical for the development of the country. President Barrow said his address focused mainly on the critical issues and concerns requiring sustained attention for the development of the country and the impact of the pandemic on the government's performance in different stories. Mariama Dem was listening.
In 2020, the country's GDP growth was projected at 6.5%, but the pandemic compelled a revised GDP estimate of minus 1.5%, Barrow said. Despite the economic challenges, he went on, domestic resource mobilization in 2020 amounted to a performance of $13.4 billion. Of this, he revealed $11.8 billion was tax revenue and $1.8 billion in non-tax revenue.
Accompanying this is an order set of roads totaling to 175 kilometers. The contracts were awarded in January 2020 to be completed in 16 months. Madam Speaker, the construction of the Kiang West roads has commenced with 38 kilometers of paved roads. The execution period is 12 calendar months. Negotiations are underway for the contractor to continue with the remaining 46 kilometers in Kiang.
According to Mr. Barrow, his government, through support from the UNDP, commissioned an evaluation of Vision 2020 to make recommendations for a long-term development plan to guide future development strategies. President Barrow highlighted that his government's development and achievement levels would have been much better if the pandemic had not crept in, but was quick to acknowledge that the government has registered significant successes over the years. He pointed out that the issues raised in his address demonstrate that the tasks at hand are many and very difficult. Addressing them effectively, he said, requires unity, peace, stability, the desire and will to promote and defend the nation's cause. Mariama Dem, reporting for Star TV News.
The Gambia's main opposition party, United Democratic Party, said the news of the alliance between the NPP and the APRC has not taken the party off guard. Awasane has more in this report.
The UDP says while it strongly supports the principles of freedom of association, it believes the NPP-APRC alliance is for political expediency at the detriment of the masses' aspirations for justice and a reconciliation. This alliance demonstrates that President Barrow has no moral qualms, no understanding or appreciation for justice and reconciliation, coming together to end the dictatorship of former President Jammeh, the UDP said in a statement on Wednesday. It intended that President Barrow is devoid of empathy for the many victims of the Jammeh repressive rule and the sacrifices made for democratic revival. The country's largest opposition party argued that President Barrow's decision to align with the APRC is a proof of his lack of respect for either constitutional or legal processes established by the citizens for the attainment of justice, peace and reconciliation. Is another failed tradition. This to the UDP is another failed transitional justice project, just like the constitutional review process and Jammeh Commission. UDP hinted that if the statements of key alliance stakeholders could be taken to the bank and accepted, then Mr. Barrow has flagrantly abused his powers as the chief executive by superimposing his wishes on the will of the citizens by undermining the TRRC. Meanwhile, the terms of the MOU between the NPP and APRC have yet to be made public, but UDP said Mr. Barrow has no muscle or intention to make good on his promises. We caution the APRC supporters and sympathizers that this is just a gimmick by President Barrow and his cohorts to seduce them to vote for him, UDP said. For Star TV News, this is Awasane.
The paralysis caused to the global economy by the COVID-19 pandemic has seen the Gambia's tourism sector lose $6.7 billion in tourist money. This revelation was made by the Gambian leader on Thursday as he delivered his fifth State of the Nation address. Mariama Dem again.
The contribution of the tourism sector to the GDP before the coronavirus pandemic was about 25%, and the sector also provided around 200,000 jobs. But COVID-19 has drastically deaccelerated these gains as it sent thousands into joblessness and caused the country huge revenue loss. President Barrow said travel restrictions have decreased tourist arrivals from 89,232 in 2020 to 50,000 in 2021.
Honorable members, through the expanded program on immunization, the health sector is administering vaccinations against 12 preventable diseases. The government is working on mobilizing resources to secure about 2.5 million doses of vaccines for national coverage. Working with our partners, we intend to vaccinate at least 60% of the population.
He added that this development has not been favorable to the attainment of some of the goals embedded in the NDP and that it has also occasioned revenue loss to the Gambia Tourism Board. President Barrow disclosed that the GT Board is not expecting any revenue from operational license for this year, as he expressed government's willingness to pay operational license and municipal rates for hotels. President Barrow acknowledged that the National Center for Arts and Culture has not also been spared of the reverberations of the coronavirus pandemic for the year under review. He underlined the need to take the center to another level of development through innovation. Maria Madam reporting for Star TV News.
The First Lady, Fatou Bah Barrow, on Tuesday graced with her presence the launch of the Comprehensive Health Education Program at a ceremony held at the Arch 22 in Banjul. The program is intended to create a comprehensive health education on sexually transmitted diseases and related issues such as the control of unwanted birth and teenage pregnancy. More in this report.
The program is intended to create a comprehensive health education on sexual transmitted diseases and related issues such as the control of unwanted birth and teenage pregnancy. In her statement on the occasion, Fibia Inasanyang, one of the brains behind the initiative, said young Gambians are being consciously exposed to sexual and reproductive health challenges such as high cases of early marriage, teenage pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, HIV and AIDS, and gender-based violence. She enumerates the goals of the Comprehensive Health Education Initiative.
The introduction of comprehensive health education, therefore, is a blueprint in guiding teaching of age-appropriate, cultural and religious sensitive sexuality education in schools and in the communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the overall aim of the project that is being launched today is to strengthen access to quality comprehensive health education for adolescents in and out of school by designing and implementing school and community-based intervention. School and community-based comprehensive health education plays a vital role in promoting the health and well-being of children and adolescents presently and in their future.
The First Lady Fatouba Barrow lamented that young people are usually faced with several challenges as they grow up, adding that these challenges have dramatically increased as a result of the advancement in science and technology. Madam Barrow called on teachers and religious leaders to support the program.
Comprehensive health education as part of the school curriculum is long overdue, much more in these times. The conclusion of comprehensive health education, either as a stand-alone subject or into career subject, would surely help our girls to be aware of changes that they experience as they grow up and be able to protect themselves. I must register my hearty congratulations to Mrs. Sanya and the Ministry of Basic and Education for undertaking this vital research to unveil invaluable information in relating to comprehensive health education among youth and school-going students.
The Minister of Health, Ahmadu Lamin Samate, expressed the Health Ministry's commitment to supporting the initiative.
With STIs, those are the sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. Most probably, if they had known, they had been equipped with the knowledge, with the information that would have been averted. So this is timely, and the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education are collaborating in a whole lot of areas with partners like the West African Health Organization. We are partnering with non-governmental organizations that deal with youth empowerment, that deal with transferring of skills to the youths, that deal with giving information, empowering the youths. And this partnership, I'm happy my brother, Honorable Minister for Youth, is also here.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Jere Sanyang, outlined the means of achieving the program's goals.
We would all appreciate that modern education is about attitudes, skills, and competencies. However, in our society, reproductive education, health education, is surrounded with a lot of myths, and these were some of the issues that the research focused on and endeavors to address. The study is designed into various phases, beginning with a survey and data collection, analyzing the data to inform the design and implementation of school and community-based programs, assessing the effects of implementation and drawing lessons, and finally, advising how effectively comprehensive health education could be coordinated across the country.
Despite its infusion in the country's education system years back, sexual and reproductive health education has yet to gain a foothold in the system as some religious beliefs continue to reverse gains. But it's expected that this program will overwhelmingly help in raising public awareness of the importance of sexual education in the school curriculum. Reporting for Star TV News, Awasane.
Well, those were the local stories. We'll be back with the international news after this break.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gosh Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gosh Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gosh on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gosh Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.goshglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh.
You're reminded you're watching Star TV News, broadcasting live from Churchilltown. And now to the international news. The reaction of the composition of the new Taliban government has been mixed and generally cautious. Several officials appointed to the government posts are on American and global terrorism watch lists. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Germany has reiterated U.S. concerns about the new leadership in Kabul. In Afghanistan, many have been expressing mixed reviews of their new interim government. Al Jazeera's Charlotte Velez reports from Kabul. For many, it's the bread and butter and issues that are the most pressing.
Taliban caretaker government announced and an emirate resurrected. Security was increased as senior leaders surveyed Kabul, their new domain. Outside what was the US Embassy, Taliban members discussed who's been appointed and to which roles. Their leader, Haibatullah Akhundzada, was crowned the emir. Of 33 cabinet appointments, Mullah Hassan Akhund, head of their leadership council, received the top job of acting prime minister. Sirajuddin Haqqani is now the acting interior minister, despite being on the US terror watch list with a $10 million bounty on his head. And Mullah Yaqub, the son of Taliban founder Mullah Omar, has become acting defence minister. Siraj watches from a distance. It's his first day as a Taliban flag seller. He doesn't know the leaders, but has heard their names. He had noted the cabinet was all Taliban members, with no women.
Zabihullah Mujahid said that there are a few seats left and they are going to appoint more people, and God willing it will be an inclusive government.
The Taliban promised an inclusive government, but the majority of acting ministers and their deputies are Pashtun, meaning Hazara communities like this one have no representation. It has left many in this neighbourhood feeling sidelined.
I don't know why, but there are no Hazaras. I didn't see any Hazaras. They don't care about us, not at all.
Whatever tribe people are from, each should defend their rights. Our seats, designations and rights should be ours. Not they appoint one guy who is a Pashtun. All people should be equal.
Women were also left without representation. No one was appointed to the Ministry of Women's Affairs. Yet some women we spoke with said their priority is survival and security over politics.
Whoever it is, we just want some bread and peace and no robberies. Nobody should bother my children. That's all I want.
But one entrepreneur told us women need a voice in government to protect their rights, especially to employment.
If they stop me working, I'm the breadwinner of the house. What will I feed my family? The way I have this fear, there are thousands of women like me.
People fear a lot of things here. For some, it's their new rulers and becoming invisible. For others, it's going hungry or being caught in an attack. Now they are assessing which fears are warranted. Charlotte Ballas, Al Jazeera, Kabul.
A fuel crisis in Lebanon has worsened in the past few weeks, with supplies dwindling and the Lebanese pound having lost most of its value. Several shortages and high petrol prices have increased transport costs, impacting people's earnings and making even getting to work more difficult. Al Jazeera's Sarah Harriet reports from Beirut, Lebanon.
Finally gets a little more petrol in his taxi. Supplies are being rationed as Lebanon doesn't have enough fuel. When the central bank partially lifted subsidies last month, prices jumped by 70%. At the same time, running and maintaining a vehicle during Lebanon's worst economic crisis has gone up.
I have been driving all morning. There are no passengers. It has become too expensive for them. Petrol is costing me half of what I earn. I can't afford to support my family anymore. People are crying. They're feeling humiliated. No one cares about us.
This is what decades of systematic corruption looks like. Black markets and hoarding of basic commodities, including fuel, have contributed to hyperinflation. That's pushing people further into poverty. The UN warns it could get worse.
These are the scenes that we're seeing across the country every single day. Tempers are high, fuel is expensive, and there's a major shortage. But it's essential for those trying to make a basic living. And for those that are trying to get to work or school or go about their business, they're fast running out of transport options.
Lebanon is bankrupt, and with the local currency losing most of its value to the US dollar, passengers too are also struggling. With public transport almost non-existent, people rely mostly on cars or private services, but taxis and buses have either stopped working or have increased their fares.
He wanted $10. That's too much for me, and it's a very short ride.
It's too expensive. I'm finding it hard to get to work.
Pick-up point على your location.
To fill the void, these young entrepreneurs from Beirut took matters into their own hands, providing an affordable alternative bus service.
And just go to work, go to school, go to uni. On the buses, we offer Wi-Fi and a climate-controlled environment. It's a comfortable environment, so people can just kick back in traffic and do their stuff on the commute. And if enough people do so, then maybe there won't be any traffic anymore.
To meet demand, they've increased their fleets of buses, with additional routes being considered.
With the crisis, it's harder for people to get gas, it's harder for people to go around, so I think it would be easier this way. You know, you'd have a reliable way of actually moving from one area to another.
The transport disruption is also impacting the supply of basic goods like food, water and medication. And with fuel now costing nearly half the minimum wage, people in Lebanon are finding themselves having to make tough life choices. Sara Khairat, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
Some of the people who fled the violence in Ituri, Northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo, have come home only to find a harsh reality awaiting them. Various armed groups have buried landmines everywhere as they retreated, and some parents have not buried their children as a result. A state of emergency was declared in the region in early May, and the army began battling rebels. But the situation has not improved for those living there. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soy reports from Irumu territory in northeastern DR Congo.
These government soldiers in Irumu territory in Ituri province have recently taken control of the town of Mboga. This follows a series of attacks said to have been carried out by the Allied Democratic Forces, or ADF, an armed group mostly based in neighboring North Kivu province. The ADF's entry into Ituri is terrifying those who live in border areas, and it's complicating a conflict mainly between Lendu farmers and Hema herders that's gone on for 20 years. People in Mboga accuse a rival community of supporting the ADF. Some who fled attacks have started coming back home. But to a harsh reality, retreating militia members have planted landmines. Kiazimpa Komwe shows us where he buried his 3 children. They were 14, 12 and 9, killed by a landmine as they went to harvest corn.
This problem of landmines is very serious. The enemy planted them along the way to our farms. How are we then expected to till our land?
At the height of the fighting in May, businesses, homes and vehicles were set on fire.
This was a bar and a home that belongs to one of the youth leaders in this area. He was burned here, the house torched, his wife and 7 kids kidnapped. They were later released. It appeared very much to be a targeted attack, like many others in this area.
The government declared a state of siege in Ituri and North Kivu provinces in May, placing them under military rule to contain the rebels. The state of emergency is a fast to be invoked in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But while some areas have been secured, fighting has continued in other parts, displacing thousands of people. Ituri's new governor, a general in the army, says it's making good progress.
Our people want quick results. This is a conflict that started more than 20 years ago with no solution. We cannot solve it in 4 months, but we will not take another 20 years to bring peace.
The army has often been accused of being undisciplined and corrupt. An investigation is underway into how $30 million meant for security operations have disappeared. We put this question to the governor.
Those who have stolen money from the army and from soldiers on the front line are in custody and will have their day in court.
Military commanders we've spoken to say they need time to end the violence, but those who've suffered for many years tell us they're tired of waiting and want peace now. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Ituri province in northeastern DRC.
And before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Barrow delivers State of Nation address for 2022 legislative year. UDP criticizes Barrow for NPP-APRC alliance. Barrow reveals Gambia loses over $6 billion on tourist money. First Lady Grace's launch of comprehensive reproductive health education program. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our program. Until then, have a very good night.